In 1999, BMW launched the X5, its first sport utility vehicle. The company, known for building some of the best driving cars in the world, had seemingly sold out to the SUV craze of the 90s. Luckily, they didn't forsake everything they stood for. As it turned out, the X5 was one of the best driving sport utilities ever built. This is probably why BMW never actually called it an SUV. Instead, they called it a sport activity vehicle. In 2004, BMW launched another X, the X3. It was smaller and even more fun to drive than the X5, trading utility for sport. This year, BMW is adding a third X vehicle to its lineup with the new X6. Based heavily on the X5, the two cars look surprisingly similar to each other, but the biggest difference between them is the X6's sloping roofline. BMW calls its X3 and X5 sport activity vehicles, but they're calling the new X6 a sport activity coupe, which is a bunch of baloney. First of all, it has 4 doors. Coupes are only supposed to have 2. Secondly, it rides high off the ground. Coupes are supposed to be low slung. Clement Zimmerman from BMW explains why they think the X6 is such a unique vehicle.
What is a sports activity coupe? It's fairly straightforward. You'll get the functionality and the versatility which is comparable to the X5, but on top, the customer gets for the first time the design, the performance, and the agility of a large coupe.
Just save the trouble and call all the X vehicles what they really are, crossovers. Aside from the marketing games, the X6 is true to BMW's motto. It really is an ultimate driving machine. It's practically as much fun as a sports car, which is amazing for a vehicle that weighs more than 5,000 pounds. And just like a good sports car, the steering is tight and accurate. It really makes you feel like you're driving a much smaller vehicle. Like the steering, the ride is excellent too. It's firm, yet forgiving. It keeps the car flat through turns, but it doesn't rattle your bones going over bumps. The most impressive thing about the suspension is how it filters out the graininess you feel and hear when driving over rain-battered pavement. One new technology that helps make the X6 so much fun to drive is called dynamic performance control. The X6 is the first BMW to have this feature.
What does dynamic performance control do? With xDrive, we can shift the power between the front and the rear already, but dynamic performance control on top shifts power between the left and the right side on the rear axle.
What this means is that the X6 can put more power to one rear wheel than the other during cornering. This helps the car rotate a little bit, which makes it handle better. Under the hood, the X6 comes with one of 2 engines. Powering base models is a 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6. It pumps out 300 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque. It's very strong from just off idle all the way to its 7,000 RPM redline. But it vibrated a lot more than expected and was loud at idle, which were disappointing surprises. Step up to the top-of-the-line X6 and you get a brand new engine. It's a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 that's as smooth as glass. It makes 400 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque and gives the X6 devastating performance. But for gearheads, the design of this engine is almost more exciting than its performance. BMW engineers came up with a really clever way to make it compact. What they did was flip the cylinder heads around so that the exhaust manifolds are now in the middle of the V and the narrow intake manifolds are on the outside. This allows the turbos and all their plumbing to fill the wasted space in the center of the engine. It's a brilliantly simple way to keep the engine compact, but it really works. V8-powered X6s will blast off from 0 to 60 in only 5.3 seconds. As for the interior, it feels like BMW engineers just ran out of ideas. It's practically identical to the one in the X5, though the X6 comes with neat cushions on the center console for bracing yourself while cornering. Another interesting feature was our test car's strange-looking bamboo trim. It looked oil-stained and kinda grungy. I'd definitely opt instead for the no-charge wood or aluminum. Also worth noting are the seams between the dashboard and front door panels. The dash and doors didn't match up at all, which really looks out of place in such a premium vehicle. Aside from the interior design, the fit and finish was flawless and the materials very rich. It's also extremely quiet. The only sound that enters the cabin is a touch of wind noise at highway speed. There's plenty to love about the X6. It's tons of fun to drive and it's very comfortable, but it ain't cheap. Six-cylinder models start around $54,000, while the V8 powered version will set you back about $64,000. If BMW's Sport Activity Coupe sounds like the perfect vehicle for you, you don't have long to wait to buy one. They should be on dealer lots right now.